Welcome to Devotionary, where we make the Bible accessible and applicable. Leviticus 22 appears to be more of the same. At first glance, it can appear as if God is in a rut, saying the same thing over and over again. But if we look closely and listen carefully, we'll see that he's actually driving home a point that's all too easily overlooked by the people of God. If we're not careful, the concept of holiness can lose its significance. What God has deemed of great importance, we can end up treating as optional or of minimal importance. Too often, we define holiness on our terms rather than God's. We determine the least amount of effort required to keep God happy with us, but it usually doesn't reflect God's outlook. And in doing so, our lives become an unacceptable sacrifice to God. We go through the motions. We perform the expected duties and live up to the usual list of do's and don'ts. And all the while, our hearts are far from Him. This complacent, minimalist approach to our own spirituality ends up giving our witness a poor reputation and God a bad name. Do not treat my holy name as common and ordinary. I must be treated as holy by the people of Israel. It is I, the Lord, who makes you holy. Leviticus 22, verse 32. Okay, let's be honest. It seems like there's an awful lot of repetition in the book of Leviticus, and chapter 22 is a prime example. Virtually everything in this chapter has been covered already. So why is God belaboring the point with Moses and requiring that he communicate these conditions to the people yet again? Maybe it's because God is trying to drive into their heads just how important holiness is to him. Once again, he warns them to treat his name as holy and not common. They are to show him respect. They are not to treat God as if he's just another one of the many gods that are out there. He is not a possible option, but the one and only God of the universe. They were even to treat the items they sacrificed to God with a certain level of respect, because they were consecrating or setting them apart to God. They were dedicating them to him, and to offer animals with defects to God would be the same as profaning or desecrating his name. It would be showing him disrespect and not honor. To do so would be unacceptable, and it would nullify the effects of the sacrifice. God demands and deserves our best, but how often do we give him the leftovers of our time, our gifts, our attention, our affections, our day, and our lives? We profane his name when we give him the sacrifices of our lives, but full of defects and flaws. We offer him our prayers, but at the end of the day as we lay in bed falling asleep. We offer him our times of devotion, but squeezed in between reading the paper and checking out our Facebook page. We give him our tithe, but only after we've made sure that we take care of our needs and wants first. And we're okay with all of it. We've learned to treat the God of the universe as common. We assume he'll be fine with what we do. He will accept anything we bring to him because that's just the way he is. But a reading through Leviticus reminds us that our God is deadly serious about holiness and wants his people to treat him with awe and respect. There is no room for casual flippancy or easy familiarity. He's still God. He's still holy. He is still the Lord. He is Jehovah, the existing one, whose name was so holy that it went unpronounced among the people of Israel. Yet the name of God rolls off our lips with regularity and a familiarity that borders on blasphemy. We talk of God as a commodity rather than a divine, holy deity. He is there to meet our needs, provide solutions to our problems, and guarantee a better life than the one we're currently living. We expect much from God, but don't feel that he demands much of us. We've learned to believe that he accepts us as we are. We've confused grace with complacency. Our God appears to have lowered his standards. He's less demanding and more accepting. He's more tolerant and a whole lot less legalistic than he used to be. But this is not the God of the Bible. His standards have not changed. He has offered a way to receive forgiveness from sin, but he has not changed his views about sin. He's given his own Son as payment for the punishment for sin, but that doesn't mean sin is no longer costly. He no longer demands that we keep the law perfectly to attain righteousness, but that doesn't mean the law is no longer valid. God is still God. He is still holy. He still expects his people to be holy. He has called us to a life of righteousness and holiness. He has set us apart to live lives that are distinct and different. As Peter clearly reminds us, for he himself has said, "You must be holy because I am holy." 1 Peter 1 verse 16. Father, I do it every day. I offer unacceptable sacrifices to you. I give you the dregs of my time, talent, and treasure. I treat your name as common and act as if you are no more special than one of my casual acquaintances. Give me an increasing awareness of your holiness and a growing appreciation for who you are. What we value, we treat with respect. What we believe is costly and priceless, we handle with care. I have become far too familiar and flippant in my relationship with you. Forgive me. Amen.